The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite, surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing, in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panometric fam.
So that's what it sounds like when anybody's trying to tell me anything about power installation and all that stuff. So I had no idea what I was doing, and I decided to turn to a couple Facebook groups and Reddit groups to try to figure out how to install the power properly. So I asked some questions, got flooded with comments, some good, some bad, but it kind of got the right idea there, and I got things started through kind of what the comments were on here, and a couple other friends that were able to guide me in the right direction to go with a 2000 watt inverter, a 40 amp DC to DC, and the monitor. And that's kind of how I got started. I had no idea that I would end up needing bus bars, fuses, breakers, all that good stuff. So it started with building the box out, figuring out how the fridge was going to go, and then I got my products in and started trying to build the box from there, basically. I had no idea what batteries I was even going to get when I started to build the box, so that was kind of a figure it out as it goes. And once I got the batteries, thankfully they fit in. You'll see a little bit here, I had to use a screwdriver to kind of chip away at the wood in there so that both batteries would fit, but hey, they fit in snug and perfect, so I can't complain about that. And I also could have saved on my wiring. Apparently, I could have just had the bus bar grounded to the chassis, and I wouldn't have had to run a negative all the way from the engine through the frame to the back of the box. I could have just run one wire, which would have been fantastic considering there was a super annoying pinch point in the frame that had me pulling and tugging, and I had to end up using some WD-40 to get it through there, and my super good fishing skills, as you're seeing here, taping it to the rope and getting it through. I had Little Man helping me, Aaliyah was helping me. It was just an absolute tug of war for a quick minute here that I could have honestly avoided altogether and saved a bit of money. But now I essentially have an extra length of wire in case I ever need it, I guess. So silver lining. Well, here's me using a drill to carve out where the monitor is going to go, because I really had no idea what I was doing and an incredibly limited amount of tools to make do with what I had. And I mean, it didn't work out too bad. As you see when the box is finished, that was the 60 amp DC to DC that I got that apparently would blow up my alternator, so I had to go down to a 40 amp. That's when everything was installed. I finished the box with some tape and some dollar store matting. So, I mean, it doesn't look horrible. I'm happy with how the box ended up. I put some piano hinges on the back part. That's where I chipped away at the wood to fit the battery. Boom, batteries fit in. Went with 200 amp hour Power Queen batteries, which I'm super stoked on. Working in the night in the middle of the bush here with the Lumi light kind of guiding my way. Thankfully, I was able to ask the right questions to the right people who helped me figure it out properly, and led to the moment where I was able to hit that power switch on the inverter. And it was honestly the greatest moment that I had, because finally having power after like a month and a half of trying to figure this out was just, it was a very great moment for me. Just because it was such a struggle of something that I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know, am I using the right wire size for this or that? Then I figured out, hey, I need a 60 amp breaker in the front, which I can turn on and off, which is good. So I can cut the power completely if I need to. So that's going 60 amp breaker to the DC to DC. And then I have battery to inverter with a 100 amp fuse. Again, had no idea I needed that until I spoke to the right people that know what they're doing and were able to help me kind of go in the right direction. So ran it out of the frame, popped it in there. Again, that would have looked way better with just one wire coming out. Lesson learned. And here was another giant pain in the butt, because I put that small red wire, the ignition wire, into the wrong wire in the light, and it would only turn on the DC to DC if my foot was on the brake. Finally, we figured that out, so that was awesome. So I got it connected to another light, which it's my daytime or my nighttime lights essentially, which I can turn on and off if I want to. So the DC to DC is not just going to run every time the truck is started. I need to actually turn it on during the day. Obviously at nighttime it'll run, but it's another just little fail-safe that I can shut it down. And then the other cool thing is that I installed the 2 bus bars that you'll see here right away, and I was able to run the ice code DC to DC. I made a video on that one as well, but run the DC to DC under the floor here and then up into this box and just into the bus bars. So it actually uses more power to convert the power from DC to DC to AC and run it from the inverter into the fridge. So now the fridge is just connected directly to the batteries, which is awesome. This fridge uses nothing when it's at temperature, which is phenomenal for us. We could probably run it, I think I could probably run it for about 2 weeks at temperature in the bush without having to recharge the batteries. I'm kind of curious and want to try it. So there's the bus bars set up, and you know, don't judge me on the cable management. I know it's a rat's nest, but it does what it needs to do now. Again, I did it with no experience and I did it on a budget. So far, I'm super happy with it. It's doing what it needs to do. Will it stand the test of time? I don't know 100%, but right now it's about a month into, you know, running our fridge and running our power, and it's been great. So stay tuned, see if it keeps kicking the way it should. And yeah, right now we love it. Super stoked about it, and that's kind of the breakdown of what it is. So yeah, super happy, had everything worked out, and let's go.